Today we're going to take a look at how to find an equation of a line if we know the slope and we know a point that we want it to go through. So if we have a graph and somebody says, all right, I want a line that goes through this point and this point, that kind of thing. The first thing we would do is just calculate the slope. So we look at rise over run, and we look at this. Now, you should be able to look at this line and say, ooh, that's going to be a negative slope. That's right, because we're going down, and then we're going to the right. So we got a negative slope and such. So let's just pretend that we do this, and we end up with a slope of negative 1/2. Well, if we want the actual equation of the line, let's just say that this point right here was 6, 2. All right. The first thing we got to understand is that this is an x and this is a y value. So if we actually wrote out the equation y equals mx plus b, we would find out that we have 3 out of the 4 variables, and then we can just solve for the other one. The way that works is that first we have a 2 for y, so we put a 2 in here. Okay, so we put a 2 in there, equals m, negative 1/2, and then the x is times 6, and then plus b. So we have everything filled in except for one variable. And so now we can just solve for that one variable, the b. So let's see, we go negative 1/2 times 6. That's the same as dividing by a negative 2. So 2 equals negative 1/2 times 6 is going to be a negative 3 plus b. And then to get rid of the negative 3, or to move it to the other side, we got to go plus 3, b equals 5. And once we know that b equals 5, then we can say, all right, we got the slope, we got the b, that's all we need. So the equation is going to be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. So that went there, and this went there, and that's how we got our equation. And this is the equation. So if we typed this into Desmos, we would get the line that would go through these points. Works pretty well. Okay, let's try one more. So if I give you the point, how about 9, 2? So I give you this point. And again, we have to understand that this is an x and a y. Well, I also either need to give you another point so you can calculate the slope, or I need to give you the slope. So I'm going to give you the slope here. 1/3. Okay, so again, we're going to put everything into the equation. So let's see. Y equals mx plus b. So let's see. Y is 2. So that went here. The x goes here, and the slope goes here. So equals 1/3 times 9 plus b. All right, so we start solving it. 1/3 times 9 is just 3. So, whoops, not a 3 there. 2 equals 3 plus b. Subtract 3 from both sides. b equals negative 1. So now that we have our b, our y-intercept, we have our slope, we can come over here and write y equals, put our slope in, put the x in, and then put our b in, minus 1. Okay, minus 1, negative 1 are the same thing. Okay, That's all there's to it. And every single one of these, where I give you a point and give you a slope, they're done exactly the same way. All right? You might be able to use this a little bit on some of those games that we've been playing, some of the activities that we've been playing on Desmos. This would actually help out quite a bit, especially on the upcoming marble game that you'll see in class. All right, we'll talk to you in class.